starting?
Now it says we're live.
Now we're live. All right.
Yay.
All right, well,
Hi.
Hi. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone.
Yeah.
My name is James. I am the publisher of Universe Today, and this is your virtual star party for December 15th, 2013. Just a warning, it's still awful weather for everybody. We've had a whole pile of people just tell us that it's just terrible weather. So if you're living,
I think they're faking it.
They're faking it. Yeah.
I think it's like going to school like the week before summer break. Like, oh, I'm sick.
Oh, but
Teacher.
but we're gonna cobble together a ragtag crew of astronomers and their brains, and we'll see what we can come up with. So, so first we got David. I'm clouded in Dickinson in Florida.
You can see my scope. It's inside.
You can't see anything from in there.
Yeah.
Is that an X-ray telescope?
No, I can't see through the walls. I have not really seen the Geminids any of these mornings recently. I saw a little bit Friday.
Well,
night.
not from inside. You have to go outside for that.
Nope. And you need the clouds to like part.
Yeah. We got Mark Behrendt. Hey, Mark. It's been a long time.
Hey guys. Yeah, it has been.
And you're going to bring us the moon, we hope, but you've got some sort of mediocre weather, right?
Yeah, it's been snowing in Chicago the last couple of days, and we just got some cloud cover. But fortunately, the moon's bright enough to blow through most of it.
Bad weather in Chicago? Heavens.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the big problem is, like, you get this terrible, really bright moon, and that blows out all the rest of the telescopes. So, yeah, so it's a rough night. We got Roy Salisbury, who is gonna. He's the one being heavily obscured by the moon's awful glow.
Yes.
But he's got some hydrogen alpha stuff we'll be able to take a look at. So.
Yay!
We got Scott Lewis. Scott.
I should unmute myself. Yes. Hello. I'm sharing and promoting and tweeting.
Keep that up.
Keeping it up. Doing the hard work over here behind the scenes.
And Tom Nathe. Is that
yes.
right?
Yep.
Cool. And I was just saying, like, Tom's got a cool little microscope there in the background. I think that would be, we could always.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to dig through my pile of dirty dishes and see if I can come up with some sort of bio life form.
Yeah, just dig something out of the fridge and we'll get a look at that. So.
Yeah.
Is it space or is it Tom's fridge? We don't know. Yeah. Cool. So let's. So here's what we're dealing with right here. The moon, and it's great to look at. Except when it's a full moon, it's all we get to look at.
It's just a little over 24 hours from full right now, and this is going to be the smallest full moon of 2013 tomorrow night too. So.
Oh, we might actually have somebody else join us, Mr.
Good.
Foreman.
Oh.
Right on.
Yay!
Hey, Stuart. Evil Stuart.
Let us see your red light and your microphone. Turn it on.
Well, we'll wait till he joins us because we're live. Cool. So, Mark, what's your setup here?
So right now I've got just a Canon DSLR on the back of my Celestron C8, so it's an 8-inch SCT type telescope. And I'm running a long USB cable into the house because it's like 10 degrees out right now.
I was going to say it must have some kind of remote setup.
Yeah.
Look at how fast those clouds are moving past it.
That's what I have back here as a SCT-8 too, so it's the same kind of scope.
Yeah, I've got a homemade dew shield and a homemade dew heater on there, so it'll keep it from frosting up.
I use
like the second time I've used the dew heater, so we'll see.
I actually use a hiking mat and a bungee cord to hold it onto the scope for dew shield when I'm in the field, so it works though.
And just to let people know, as it gets into the middle of December, late December, it gets harder and harder for us to kind of get everybody organized. So I think this is going to be our last star party until the new year. So we'll probably, was that the 5th of January, probably?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
5th.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
not
makes
this
sense.
week, not next week, or not a week. Yeah, not for the next few weeks, and then we'll pick it back up again in the new year. So.
And it's not because we don't love you; it's because it's a pain with all the weather and holidays and stuff like that. So we just figure give you guys a break from us for a while.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So so David, where did the Chinese rover land?
The Chang'e 3, looking at my Phases of the Moon app, I can probably show you the easiest way. Landed, they didn't quite, this little indentation right here is Sinus Iridium, where they were aiming for. They landed just off to the side in the northern part of the Mare of Imbrium, right here, right in this area. So I can see it when the clouds are parted on Mark's image, actually. But yeah, they landed there yesterday afternoon. It's the first time the Chinese have soft landed on the moon, and it's the first soft landing that anyone's made since 1976. We've impacted things like L-Cross impacted a few years ago. The Grail missions impacted there last year after they completed their mission, but this is the first soft landing since 1976, and it was kind of cool. We got no one really knew how much coverage. I didn't even know till tomorrow morning if the Chinese were even going to broadcast it. So we just kind of tuned into CCTV, to their national English television channel, and started watching, and then it popped up and they started broadcasting it. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah, so it was cool. They had images almost immediately. Again, we were talking about before the show started. It was like when MSL landed a few years ago on Mars. We thought that we might be in a waiting pattern to find out if they'd actually made it and have to wait for a few hours, and that wasn't the case. And yesterday it wasn't the case either. Of course, they have a lot more, almost instantaneous communication between Earth and the Moon. It's only like about a 1.5 second delay for light travel time for the signals. So as opposed to Mars, it's about 3 minutes. So
yeah, I mean they can literally just drive that thing with a joystick. I mean,
yeah, they almost real time.
Yeah, yeah. There's pretty much no delay.
Yeah, when
that's a complete difference from the way it is with the Mars.
With Mars, yeah, you have 7 minutes there and 7 minutes back at the time of MSL. So we, it's a whole 7 minutes of terror. You have no idea what happened, and we didn't even know. It was been very possible that we had to wait between 8 and 14 hours before we got an image back to even know if we landed. So that was kind of scary too.
And I thought they were going to drive the rover off like a day later, and they actually drove it off. I went out for lunch and came back, and they were driving it off like that afternoon, yesterday afternoon. So
yeah, it was surprising how quickly they pulled the rover off the lander. And it sure looks like Sojourner. Like it's such a adorable little. It really made me sort of feel like it was Sojourner all over again. Although it's got more of these wings, more like the Opportunity and Spirit rover. So
believe it or not, my fortune cookie from lunch yesterday said believe it can be done. Which I was like, ooh, I'm not superstitious or anything, but I was like, that's kind of like ironic.
So
it's cool.
I get to fit in with you old people now, and I have had a lunar landing since I've been alive. So
there's a lot of people on Twitter yesterday. I know Elizabeth Howell was saying this was her first lunar landing because she wasn't old enough to remember. It's like I remember the final Apollo mission, so it's like, come on, don't make us feel that old.
I remember watching, was it Ranger 7 impacting the moon? They did that as a live broadcast.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was in the mid-'60s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's way back.
Not to date myself or anything.
Say, you weren't at Woodstock, were you?
I don't think my parents would have let me out the house on that
one. That's good. So then we've got this full image of the moon here, David. So where would we be looking?
You'd be looking. I think it's just looking on my screen. I don't know if it's inverting it. It's kind of the center to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to point at it otherwise. I've got both maps. I've got the phases of the moon and my old paper one I use for star parties too. It's kind of.
So are we talking right about here?
Let's see. Hard to tell with the clouds.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's kind of like it's up in the Mare of Imbrium. It's the Sinus Iridium is that little notch there at the top.
I can't really see on your clipboard.
Mare is right at the very top there.
Yeah, because you're
down by Plato, which is right above Mark's name there on the page.
Yeah, down toward I think down about where the letter M in his name is in the front is probably pretty darn close to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Very cool. And speaking of Phases of the Moon, our Phases of the Moon app is completely free today for iPhone and iPad. So if you go to the iTunes store for the next, I don't know how many more hours, but another 24 hours, it's totally free. And we've never done this before. And so now's your chance. Quickly, go to iTunes, download a free copy.
Or if you're cool and have an Android device, you can get it for free all the time.
All the time, yeah. We always have a free version for Android.
Works on Kindle Fire. That's what
Yep.
I want.
Yeah. And the Android
very
version
cool.
the Android version is better because it has the live wallpaper and the background, the live background. So
it is nice.
Yeah,
on my Nexus 7. But I did buy it because I do support you, Fraser.
Well, yeah, no, the free version has these pathetic ads encouraging people to buy the pro version so that we can feed our children and such. So
is that what you rely on now?
That's what we do. Yeah, you kidding? Yeah.
Nothing to do with this universe
Please support
today thing.
Fraser's starving children.
Yeah, please support our starving children. Allow us to feed.
Last time I saw your kids, they were not starving.
No, they're all right. They're doing okay. But that's only because people have been so supportive. And
it's true. Thank you, Google Play Store.
It's pretty crazy, actually. We've probably, the free version, people have downloaded, I think, 1 million copies of the Phases of the Moon. It's outrageous.
It's handy with the update that you put the lunar geography in there, and I actually do use it in the field. It's handy that it's actually giving you that live time, almost like the illumination phase angle of the moon, because other maps are kind of hard to use if you don't have that phase in there to actually see what the illumination is. Sometimes it's hard to get your orientation when you're zoomed in.
Yeah, so free. There you go. Go grab it. Merry Christmas. Okay, we're going to move to Roy's view here because I know he's probably got some images stacking up behind this one. So, and this is what we're going to be dealing with, and this is because Roy's got the moon that looks so nice in Mark's view is just blazing in the sky for poor Roy. So what are we looking at, Roy?
This is the bubble nebula. I'm having a little guiding problem as well. Have to fix that. But
Earth is rotating extra quickly.
The Earth, yes, it is. I don't know what's up with that. It's lopsided tonight. So this is done. This is a 2.5 minutes through hydrogen alpha.
Oh, not bad.
And I notice these little, I can see like little stars flickering in the background. I don't think those are real stars either.
No, I think it's rendering.
Yeah.
Oh no, I see. Yeah, and I see some artifact in there.
Yeah, some kind of artifact.
Yeah, there's a few artifacts in there, but
you can see the namesake of the bubble in the center, though. There, the shockwave is pushing out. So
and that's up in Cassiopeia, right?
Pretty sure it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool.
NGC 7635.
And since we're looking at this through hydrogen alpha, this is what we would see if it was in color. Let me share it real quick and resize my screen. There we go.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You can see those stars, yeah.
Right, and so what Roy's looking at, he's narrowed everything down, what's coming into his telescope with a filter that looks at a very, very small band of light, and this is hydrogen alpha, which is red. So which is why this image here is red, because that's actually what we're seeing.
Yeah, and then the gas cloud, the stars that you see off to the left are actually in front of the gas stars. So it's all black and behind there. That's just opaque gas.
And so that, I mean, is it really a star that's blowing, that hot star is blowing these bubbles of gas out like this?
Well, it's stellar wind that's causing it to happen, yeah. And so I believe, I'm trying to remember exactly what type of star it was, but I know it is stellar wind that's pushing it out. I mean, just like any other type of planetary nebula we see, you're having the radiative source of actually pushing it out instead of collapsing down in itself.
It's going to be something in the 20-30 solar mass range, probably. It's pretty massive.
Hey, Stuart, it's got a cluster for us.
Yeah, this is Caroline's Rose. It is an open cluster, and like Roy, I am doing battle with the moon and with clouds. So this is 2-minute exposure, heavily black clipped and noise reduced, just so we can kind of see that, yay, there's stars there. But yay, that's about as good I'm going to be getting tonight. I'll keep trying.
And so, yeah, this is Caroline's Rose, which is for Caroline Herschel, which is the brother of William Herschel.
Whoops.
Hello.
Yeah, Caroline Herschel was an accomplished astronomer all on her own.
Yeah.
She was a very prolific discoverer of comets.
Yeah, we covered an episode of the Herschels in Astronomy Cast. We covered the mission and then we covered the family. So if you have any, it's a really neat story. Amazing woman. You know, at a time when all of the scientific accomplishments really went to men. So she was, was a really prolific astronomer.
Right, especially someone born in 1750. It's not as if she was born in the 20th century, where you're, given a little bit more leeway for being a woman. Especially back then, you weren't able to do anything, associated with academia.
Helen Reed suggests that Roy's picture would look great with Google's Auto Awesome falling snow effect. Have you seen that? Have you put that? Someone should do that. That'll be awesome.
Helen Reed is her number one
they're
fan.
Christmas lights and make them twinkle.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wonder what would happen if you could make it think that the stars are Christmas lights and see if it would make them twinkle. Have you seen that as well? That people's
But you know what people are going to do? They're going to start putting those
yeah.
images in our event page of, oh, look, I took this myself, and it's just star fields twinkling. Like, no. It's all over the event page now.
Oh, is it really?
No, I'm just saying there would be.
Yeah, it would be. I want to see it. I want to see it all over the event page. I don't mind.
I'm ignoring the event page from now on.
Oh, there you go. Now Mark's view. Oh, check this out. Oh, go back out to the full view there, Mark. Oh, that's looking great.
Oh, it does look good.
There we go.
There you go. The wind, your wind blowing away machine is, your
Kind of working.
Your weather machine is starting to work.
So where exactly was that the Chinese lander?
That notch is right above the A in your name. Is probably the easiest way I could tell from this image. There's a notch right there. It looks like a little cove there, kind of a curved bay.
Let me see if I can embiggen that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost right in the middle between those two little promontories there.
Yeah.
So
There we go.
That's
Yeah,
it.
there it is.
That is the Sinus Iridium right there, the Bay of Rainbows. And right up on the upper top part of that, right off there, is where they landed. So
you said they missed their landing
okay.
zone by a little bit. Do you know how far it was compared to, because when you were talking about it, I was thinking, the NASA missed the Mars landing space by 5 feet.
I think they were still within their target box when I saw the images they were running on CCTV, but it was on the very edge of it. So because we were discussing whether they had actually landed in the Bay of Rainbows or not, or just outside of it. And I think it was determined they landed just outside of it. But
really?
Scott were talking about earlier, I think they were just happy. With your first landing, you were just glad to hit the moon somewhere.
When you land on the moon, you're having a good day.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like landing an aircraft. If you can walk away from it, you did good.
And you remember when Apollo 11 and Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed too, they landed a bit long because Neil was trying to find a good place. He didn't want to put them down. He saw they were flying toward a boulder field, and he didn't want to put the Eagle down in the middle of a boulder field, so he kind of flew along a bit till he found a nice clear patch to land. So
it's funny, we've gotten some people were wondering, the conspiracy theorists have already come out in force.
I was thinking of that yesterday.
Haven't landed on the moon, and the funny thing is well, how are they getting pictures of the rover?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's done on a stage in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's Bollywood is much closer than Hollywood, so they went to India.
That's true. Yeah.
There is a meme going around today too. I don't know where it popped up from, but apparently people think something is happening with Earth and Comet Ison tomorrow, and it's
I just heard about that too.
I don't know why. I was like, no, but
I'm going to turn into Dr. Farnsworth right now and just say I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yeah.
When you think you're done with these sorts of conspiracy theories, they just come on back. And so here's my happy thing regarding the moon that I just found, and it makes me happy because it's cute. So there you go.
Cool.
So Saturn and all of its moons.
Moonwalking.
Yeah. Aw.
Isn't that cute?
Roy's got to put up something new.
Okay.
And it looks like you got your
It's a
guiding, your tracking under control.
Yes, I did. That is the Eastern Veil Nebula.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Portion of it, anyways.
That's really nice.
Wow, a lot of good detail in that.
Yeah. You wouldn't even know that there's a blazing orb in the sky.
How long of an exposure are you doing?
That is 4 minutes.
Okay, that's pretty good. Especially with the moon out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what we're looking at here is just a tiny part of the remnant of a supernova, because this thing is enormous in the sky. I mean, you already have a big field of view, Roy, right? And
no, not with this scope.
Not with that scope? Which one are you using today?
This is the 10-inch.
Oh, you're using the 10-inch. Okay. Even still, it's huge. I'm just
Yeah.
Even
it's
with
huge
your
on the mount. It's huge on the mount. It's just not huge in the sky.
Yeah. But this we're looking at here is the remnant of a supernova around 5,000 to 8,000 years ago, and it's just been slowly expanding over time. And we're able to see parts of what happened with that just immense event.
So I just was looking at this, Scott. Maybe you could explain it. Does this the remnant that we're seeing here, is that actually being twisted, or is that just an artifact of the imaging itself?
Let me see here.
It looks like a ribbon that's got a half twist in it.
I don't think they're actually being twisted like we can think of. It's gas. It's medium there that's being shot out.
Yeah,
and so you're going to have ripples, stuff like that, just based on how much energy is being pushed out with it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it's going to be gone in a few more thousand years, so it's sort of a unique time.
So humans keep looking at it.
You know, when you're sweeping along with the telescope, visually you wouldn't see this at all. It's that faint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
this is one of my favorite deep skies, just because it's huge and it's gorgeous when you get it in color.
I'm going to keep doing this. As soon as Mark gets some clear skies, I'm just going to go back to his moon.
It's all spooky in December. As it leaves.
Oh, that's it. You're done, Mark.
Yep.
That's what you get for mentioning me. As soon as you come over to me.
Tomorrow night.
Here we go. Oh, that's clear. No. Yeah.
Okay, so David, what do people think is going to happen with Ison? I mean,
I think they think that somehow there's still remnants that are out there that are going to impact the Earth somehow. And the remnants are going to follow the same orbital trajectory that the comet was. I mean, the physics isn't going to be
physics has not been broken. Physics.
So even though
physics 101, this is not astrophysics crazy sauce. This is
it's not metaphysics. No,
this is classical physics.
Yeah, it's whatever remnants are left are still going to follow the same trajectory and pass. The closest that Ison was going to pass to Earth was on Christmas Day, and it was still some distance out. I think it was almost like 1 AU away. So it's quite a ways.
In the future, yesterday or.
I don't know why they fixated on tomorrow on December 16th somehow.
Okay.
Oh, it's actually based on the Aztec calendar.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah. At least that's the one I saw. It was like, what the heck?
I just saw crazy at the top and I stopped reading. So.
Yeah. Okay. So
exactly.
End date on December 16th. It's funny that they would make such a close date because it's so easy to show that it's wrong again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There is some idea that we may get a meteor shower from Ison in January. I'm kind of skeptical about that. That's a little more grounded in science
but those are actually alien pods. Remember, those aren't actually meteorites.
Yeah. So
Stuart has got Andromeda.
I do. Just the core of it, but
that's a good.
This is a 2-minute exposure, binned 2x2, heavily noise reduced because of it needed to be heavily noise reduced.
But it's a teenager.
And so, but you can see a little bit of detail on the arms and obviously the core. Core there. Yeah.
I see 2 satellite galaxies in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you can see some of the clusters, some of the star clusters in the arms of the galaxy, and no, it's good, and you got your tracking under control too.
Yeah, no, this is my tracking's usually pretty good for under 5 minutes. So and I don't do, I'm not doing any guiding with these. These are all unguided exposures.
Wow.
Yeah, Andromeda is very nearly at the zenith right now at this time of evening and this time of year. I was showing kids at a school start party Friday night. We did manage to get it, and it looked nothing. You could see the little hazy core from downtown Tampa. You couldn't see any of the outer extensions in the satellite galaxies or the dust lanes. So.
Oh, we should probably let people know how they can get a hold of us too. YouTube. So people that are watching us on Google Plus or YouTube or Twitter or wherever else you're finding us, comment on YouTube. Probably gonna be the best way, or the multiple events that Google Plus is creating now. We're not going to look for them. So honestly, if you go to the YouTube page, it's going to be the best place for you to leave comments for us to read and reply to.
And Andromeda's heading at us too, so you can kind of imagine it's kind of over billions of years anyway.
I told you I'm sticking around. I want to see that happen.
Long before then, Earth won't be habitable anymore, so we don't have to worry about it. We'll have more to worry about.
Said I don't want to live on this planet anymore, so I'll be a little further off, and it'll be fine.
Oh, we'll just be on Mars. So.
Yeah. Somewhere like Europa.
So this is a question for you, David, from Zakaria Haji on YouTube. I see white spots on the moon. What are the white spots on the moon?
Those are craters that just the albedo and the reflectivity. We get the ejecta blanket from the impact material. It's spread out. Right now, the sun is almost like directly overhead from those points, so we're getting a reflection, like an optimal reflection of light right back. Right. So there's a few craters that actually do have a very high albedo compared to surrounding planes, albedo being how much light they reflect back. The moon is actually a very dim, it seems very brilliant white, but the moon actually has a reflectivity of about 10 to 12%, which is like the equivalent of, like if you go outside, it's like worn asphalt has about the same reflectivity.
There's this video that was just put up on the Universe Today channel that talks all about this.
Yeah, I know. Why does the moon shine?
Yeah.
With Scott Lewis.
With Scott Lewis and Thad Szabo.
Dr. Thad Szabo from the Virtual Star Party, Yeah,
the astronauts, when they came back, they said that it actually looks more like coal, kind of, the surface of it, like coal dust, than it does up close, than it does pearly white like what we see.
And I'm sure that had to be so weird to them, because it's something that we see all the time as this silver disc that's in the sky, and when you land on it and it looks like you're on a really badly paved road in Michigan.
I realized when they started showing the pictures from the Chinese rovers, and I was like, it has been a long time since we've been on the surface of the moon, because I'm almost used to seeing a rover on a red landscape or a brownish landscape. It's just
that's so true.
It just looks kind of.
That's so funny. I'm looking at some pictures right now of the lander, and it's crazy. Looks wrong.
We're just it looks like something's wrong with the image. Just
here, I'm gonna share.
Share that. That'd be awesome.
Hey, Mark, if you get a chance, how's to aim your telescope a little more to the right over to Tycho?
Well, you can get the whole thing, so...
Yeah, sure. I can do that.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
Tycho's greater.
Whoops.
Tycho.
Tycho. Yeah. The guy with the silver nose.
Tycho Brahe.
We just passed his birthday this weekend, as a matter of fact.
So really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so there's the rover.
I love it.
Look at the little guy.
He's so shiny. Shiny and new.
He's doing donuts.
Yeah, totally. Wouldn't you?
I would.
But look at that. I mean, look at that soil. I mean, it's exactly that asphalt coloring. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all those chunks of rock. I mean, the lunar surface has just been pounded and pounded over billions of years by all of these meteorite impacts, and so this just churned up rock, rubble, debris and then all of this. The dust is just more, fragments and fractured micrometeorites. It's amazing.
Well, since there's not enough mass there to have gravity to keep an atmosphere going on, so there's no wind that's blowing anything around. There's no erosion from any air, and so everything's pretty much pristine where it lands.
The erosion is rocks slamming into the surface of the moon.
The rover has
It's gonna get people is this high definition photo. Now they're going to think that the moon landing was really faked because they just aren't that good at pictures.
The rover has a hybrid. It's solar powered, but it also has a plutonium power source to get it through the 2 weeks long nighttime on the moon as well.
Yeah. But it doesn't have an RTG, right?
I think it's some variant of an RTG, but it's a lot smaller in it than what Mars Curiosity has on it.
Right.
Yeah, Mars has plutonium marshmallows. They're really cool looking. They're really cool.
So has Curiosity tweeted, hey, congratulations, China, you're on the moon. That's nice.
I don't know.
Well, actually, Laddie needs to tweet saying.
Yeah, Laddie was going to try to observe what it's going to do to the local dust environment after the rovers landed there. So I haven't seen any data come off that. There was an animation that came up. Emily Laktuola had it on her site there of the rover actually coming off there. It looks like the dust looks pretty deep there actually from the tracks.
I was noticing that. Yeah.
It's pretty funny when they were first setting up their missions to the moon. They weren't sure that it would be safe to actually walk on the surface of the moon. They didn't know that whether or not you would sink down into this moon dust, this powdery moon dust. So,
well, you notice when Armstrong first went down the ladder, the first thing he had to do was make sure he could hop back up on the ladder again, because if you couldn't get back up, you'd be stranded on the moon. So that was one of the first things they tested before he got off.
I think that's the way that I want to die. I want to be stranded on the moon.
Stranded on the moon. Well, have you ever read that letter that President Nixon had written?
Yeah.
For the astronauts, and so he had written, or someone had written a letter for him to read to the astronauts, because if there was some problem they couldn't get off the moon, he would have to thank them for their valor and say goodbye.
Yeah. It was interesting in that rover photo you showed too that I could see the sun angle. You could kind of see how the sun has just risen in that location where because the shadow angle is pretty steep. So you can tell looking at that and looking at the moon now how it's right along the terminator, how that sinus auritum region is right on the terminator. You can kind of see the confirmation of that. Really cool.
Okay. Stuart's got
and actually, Lori Pierce is asking, how long is it supposed to be performing on the moon? Do you know, David?
I think it's I don't know. I thought I heard it was a two-year mission, but
Ken Creamer has been reporting nonstop on Universe Today about the rovers. We got tons of stories. So he's been updating it like mad. I think he posted 3 stories just today about it. So he's been all over the story. So definitely check out Universe Today if you're interested. I don't know if he says. Oh, there's more pictures here. God, this is so nice. Except he's saving his photos.
The rover's name is U2, by the way, which translates into Jade Rabbit in English.
Jade Rabbit. Is there any significance for that, or?
I believe there may be. I think it has to do. I think there's something in Chinese mythology that does tie into with their stories of the moon and what they.
So they had a contest for the population, Chinese population. It was like, okay, here's a list of names. What do you want to call it?
Oh, there's a lander. That was really cool. Can you put that back up? Do it now.
Hold on, I have my children are stomping around. Give me 1 second.
Because I liked how it showed, it shows the lander, but it just strolled on off. Like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm here.
Well, I like how they had a little elevator system. Rolls off the lander, and then it lowers itself onto the surface.
Right. I mean, it's nothing as cool as Curiosity, where
that's kind of cool.
I love that.
It parachuted in.
Yeah.
Well, the Soviet, the Lunikods, they were very advanced. They were the first ones to use the balloon impact thing that the Opportunity used.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. PBS Nova, when they were doing the thing on the Opportunity and such, they had they talked about it briefly, and I had to research it on there. And yeah, the Soviets actually did the airbag thing.
A lot of people don't realize we haven't landed on the far side of the moon, or the poles. We've only landed on the near side. It's just easier to operate on the near side because you have constant communication. But
right.
Yeah. Well, and the Apollo...
The airbag's my least favorite landing way. I mean, honestly, it's just like, we're just going to wrap it in a bubble and throw it at the surface or something, and hopefully it survives. And that's the big reason why Curiosity didn't do that, is because it's too massive. So they had to they had to find a new way of doing it.
Oh, the Sky Crane, yeah, that was awesome.
Our good friend Ciro Villa, who should join us sometime, Ciro. You should come into the Star Party sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Said tinfoilers info, Comet Ice, Trinity, Mayan Tzolk'in. The gist is that they calculated the Mayan calendar wrong, and not December 2012, but December 16th, 2013, which I believe was an episode of The Simpsons as well, where Homer calculated the end of the apocalypse, and then he got it wrong, and it turned out that he was right on his next time, and he got everyone else got left below.
It's just a grab. It's just a grab for SEO, basically.
Well, actually, what they should have done is, Fraser, you could have been on another cruise right now.
Cruise, yeah, exactly.
There you go.
You should have capitalized on this.
I'm gonna go see what Stuart's got. Stuart, what have you got?
You on mute. This is half the double cluster. So this is the 1/2 over 1/2 times double.
Would that be the single cluster?
That would be the single cluster. The second one is off the field of view because my camera's not oriented right. But it is what it is. It is what I got.
This one is a good binocular target too.
Yes.
This is right between.
Yeah, it's just a little too big for my scope.
Yeah, it's right between Cassiopeia and Perseus, and it's right on the galactic plane too. So I was showing this one off at a Star Party Friday night as well. This is one of the few that you can get from downtown pretty easily, and aim at, and it looks pretty cool.
Wow, Paul Hutchinson's been posting some just amazing pictures over on the event page on Google Plus if you have time. But Paul, can we see one with snow? That would be great. Okay.
And here's the wiki version here, where you're able to see both of them. You're using your Flea now, right, Stu? You're not using your DSLR?
No, I don't have a Flea. I have a QSI 683.
Oh, QSI. Okay.
Yeah, it's got the 8300 chip in it.
Oh.
I missed your color shots.
Roy,
I have to say that.
What have you got, Roy?
That is the Cocoon Nebula.
Oh.
There we go. Looks like a heart.
I was almost going to say the crab. It just looked weird.
Or the Triffid.
Yeah. Squished.
Oh, yeah, Triffid was my guess
too. Kind of weird because the Cocoon Nebula always looks like it's out of focus.
Interesting.
It's just blurry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, you can definitely see those stars are in focus. So.
Yeah, it's focused right before it.
Well, looking at a process image of this, I can kind of see why it will look blurry. So I mean, we're looking at only the reds here, so you're seeing it kind of diffusing in with the blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would look slightly out of focus with yours.
But look at that sort of dark nebulosity around it as well in the one that Scott's got. Like that's actually obscuring the background, right?
Yeah, that's one of the Barnard Dark Nebula.
Whoa, one of the evil Dark Nebula.
Yeah.
Mark, you look like you were zoomed in on Sea of Tranquility there for a moment.
Oh, let's check it out.
Oh, it's back out
I can zoom back.
Brenda Shaw's wondering, where are we supposed to go to chat now? It's not posting to this page anymore, right? It is.
Yeah, right.
I was able to see it. So, unfortunately, we are sort of caught in between times again where the chat system is really hard to manage again.
Right.
And so just chat wherever you want, and
we'll try to find it.
We will try to find it.
The most consistent way is YouTube. But
yeah, either on YouTube or on the event page. Like if you chat on those two locations, we're most likely to see it. So,
yeah, that's Sea Tranquility there.
Yeah, that is right off to the left on the image there. There's a
get that little promontory point.
There's a bright crater there, and I know right near there's like a doublet of craters called Sabine Crater, and it's in that general region where they landed. They actually landed in a very geologically boring area, so for the very first landing.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what the Chinese did. They just picked an area that was really safe to get to.
Yeah, you're always like the engineers want to land in the safe places, and the scientists want to land in the interesting places.
Right.
And you kind of find a compromise between the two.
Well, that's the other one with the Chinese. They had to have some sort of guidance for fine tuning that, because they landed off like close to a crater there.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was interesting to watch a little descent video they stitched together. You could actually follow it right through pitching over and landing. It was kind of nifty.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can find that video real quick.
In considering a lot of their space program kind of happens still in relative secret, they were pretty open with this one. I thought it was kind of cool.
Well, they had like 5 separate camera points of view on the lander and on the rover that they were able to broadcast.
Yeah.
So they landed 5 high definition cameras on the moon to give tons of different perspective. This is great. So what do you guys think? I mean, Dave, what do you think about like next up humans, right?
That would be great. I think it would be great if we could go back to the moon. There's, like I said, there's still some places we haven't explored, like around the poles and the far side, and it's and you're a little closer home than Mars. I think it would be a good test bed for a colony, just because if something happens, you can get home from the moon a lot quicker than you can from Mars.
Yeah, I mean, think about this, right? I mean, the Chinese have done humans in space. Then they've built, multiple times. They built a space station. Now they've sent a lander to the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see where this is going.
And their lander looked a lot like the lower descent stage for the LEM too. I thought it was interesting that I've heard rumors that beefing that up may be the next step for a manned lander for them.
Well, actually, what it's going to be is when China cashes in on America's debt, they're going to ship us all to the moon to mine the helium, and that's what's going to happen.
Alan Davidson posted a pretty interesting theory, which I thought this as well, which is that we Westerns see the patterns of light and dark on the moon as the man on the moon, whereas the Chinese people see it as the rabbit on the moon.
Yeah, I know different cultures have different myths about what those dark and light patterns are.
And so maybe that's where the jade rabbit comes from, is the rabbit on the moon.
That could be, yeah.
But we're
the
just
holes for the
speculating. It's Alan's idea, not ours.
Yeah, Alan.
Yeah.
Fraser, this may be my last one. It's really clouding up here, so.
Yeah, well, we're running out of time anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay.
So this is I have Pac-Man here.
Oh, great.
So
Paul Hutchinson recommended the Owl Cluster in Cassiopeia, which I know is pretty close to where Roy's operating. But
no pressure, Roy.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle of another one.
This is the Waka Waka.
This image that I have up here is actually a first for me in the VSP. So I just wanted to do a shout out to Roy here, who has inspired me to do some HA. So this is a 4-minute hydrogen alpha exposure of the Pac-Man Nebula. Still really noisy, but first time I've ever done HA in the VSP.
Nice work.
Pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh, did Roy? You had one more image, or?
Yeah, I still got about 100 seconds on it, so.
Okay, all right. Well, I think we'll.
Why
don't we start to wrap things up, and we'll sort of go with Mark's view of the moon here, and then as we start to wrap things up, you can really see on the craters that ring around the craters, that white.
Yeah, it says some of those craters are actually, I know Aristarchus and Proclus are actually craters that are known for transient lunar phenomena over the year, where people have seen like spurious brightening on those craters, and a lot of it, I think, is just an optical illusion. But it's kind of it's interesting that a lot of them do appear a lot whiter when you get that full-on illumination there.
Yeah,
these are things that observers have just reported over the years.
Yeah, well, also in the whiter craters are usually newer.
Yeah.
The rims and such like that. That's newer ejecta that hasn't weathered yet.
Yeah.
Or aged.
Yeah, tomorrow night's full moon is also the visually smallest full moon of 2013. Just kind of something neat. Yeah, so it's an anti-supermoon. It's a little
anti-supermoon.
It's like we don't. The smallest moon has a PR problem because it doesn't get all the Google hits that the supermoon does every year.
Yeah.
So what do you call it? We got to have a name for this.
The mini moon.
The mini moon.
Yeah. Oh, and
It's like
actually,
the Diet Coke of moon.
we actually have 2 mini moons in a row because tomorrow night is the smallest of 2013, then the full moon in January is the smallest of 2014. That's just because the moon happens to be very near apogee at the time that it's reaching full. So.
Fraser, check the event page. Helen Reed has fulfilled your request.
Oh, good. Nice.
What does she
awesome.
do? What does she do when it gets in?
Great. It looks like just what Mark probably would be seeing.
Yeah, she took Paul Hutchinson's photo, is what it looks like,
Yeah.
and added and auto-awesomed it with some snow. So it's snowing on the moon.
Oh,
I gotta
Just share it.
Way to go, Helen.
That is fantastic. Here, let me see if I can share this quickly. I love it. I'll do this one here. If you can see this. You see that?
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's awesome, Helen. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Paul and Helen, a great collaboration.
that's excellent.
And that's it. No one else get any ideas on the event page. I will delete them faster than anyone.
Oh man, I love it. Cool. Okay, so well, we should probably start wrapping this up then. So, David Dickinson, thank you very much for coming. Sorry,
No problem.
Sorry you had cloudy skies, but
These are early enough that we can participate on the East Coast now, so I definitely try to join in if I can.
yeah. Mark, that was great. It's great to see you again, and
good to see
again,
you guys
that
too.
beautiful view of the moon. I love it. And I know this is like a tiny little sliver of partially cloudy until the horrible Chicago weather sets back in again. So.
Well, I went out last weekend when it was like 2 degrees out, just because I hadn't been out for a while. So I don't mind the cold. It's just the clouds are kind of.
I remember doing that in Alaska.
You got your winter coat on. You're all right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Your undercoat's growing in.
Roy, thank you very much. If you get that last picture, definitely put it up. But
It's downloading.
all right, Scott. Have a good
Hey,
Christmas.
I will try to. Let's see. Coming up, we have our beginner's guide to buying a telescope this Wednesday with Tony Darnell and I. So
And
we
me.
will, and Stu and
Yeah,
Gary.
I think I
and
can
then-
join in on that.
I think Peter as well, and David. So
Yeah.
we're going to be responding to the ever question that we get all the time: is which telescope should I buy? Which we get all the time. So
Yeah,
we're
you
going-
don't want to buy Peter's telescope though.
Yeah, well, no, you do. You just
Yeah.
need to have 30 grand. But
Yeah,
so we'll be
just
helping
don't
some.
tell the spouse.
Right. So we'll be getting some tips and tricks and some pitfalls to avoid when it comes to making the plunge.
All right,
Awesome.
Excellent.
Stuart. Congratulations on your first Pac-Man. Many more to
Awesome.
come.
Thank you.
All right, Tom. Thanks again for joining
Yes,
us.
thank you.
Bringing the knowledge and the experience with lunar landings.
I've been around.
Very cool.
Cool. Okay, so just one last reminder, if you haven't already, our Phases of the Moon app, totally free on iOS. So go to the iTunes store and you can just download a copy of it right now, free. This is going to be the last virtual star party we're going to do in 2013. So if we don't see you in other things we're doing, everybody have a great
Good Roy.
Christmas, Festivus, all of that stuff,
Merry
and
Yeah.
and we'll see you all in the new year. So
Okay.
thanks everyone.
Night all.
Bye.
Oh, there it is. There's Roy's picture. Done.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
cool.
The wizard.
Cave Nebula.
Cave.
Cave.
Awesome.
Oh,
Very cool.
okay.
All right. On that
The
note.
wizard's in the cave. He's hiding.
I have another one going, but it'll take about 50 seconds.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna shut it down.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Really good.
Bye.
Really good.
Good night,
Night
everybody.
all.
See you
Bye,
next
everybody.
Next year.
It's a hiking mat and a bungee cord to hold it onto the scope for a dew shield when I'm in the field, so it works though.
Oh, and just to let people know, as it gets into the middle of December, late December, it gets harder and harder for us to kind of get everybody organized. So I think this is going to be our last star party until the new year. So we'll probably, was that the 5th of January, probably?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
5th.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
not
makes
this
sense.
week, not next week, or not a week. Yeah, not for the next few weeks, and then we'll pick it back up again in the new year. So
And it's not because we don't love you; it's because it's a pain with all the weather and holidays and stuff like that. So we just figure give you guys a break from us for a while.
yeah,
And,
exactly. That's it. So David, where did the Chinese rover land?
The Chang'e 3, looking at my phases of the moon app, I can probably show you the easiest way. Landed, they didn't quite, this little indentation right here is Sinus Iridium, where they were aiming for. They landed just off to the side in the northern part of the Mare of Imbrium, right here, right in this area. So I can see it when the clouds are parted on Mark's image, actually. But yeah, they landed there yesterday afternoon. It's the first time.
Starting.
Now this is we're live.
Now we're live. All right.
Yay.
All right, well,
Hi.
Hi. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone.
Yeah.
My name is Mike. I am the publisher of Universe Today, and this is your virtual star party for December 15th, 2013. Just a warning, it's still awful weather for everybody. We've had a whole pile of people just tell us that it's just terrible weather. So if you're living,
I think they're faking it.
They're faking
like,
yeah.
I think it's like going to school like the week before summer break. Like, oh, I'm sick.
But
Teacher.
we're gonna cobble together a ragtag crew of astronomers and their brains, and we'll see what we can come up with. So first we got David. I'm clouded in Dickinson in Florida.
You can see my scope. It's inside.
You can't see anything from in there.
Yeah.
Is that an X-ray telescope?
No, I can't see through the walls. I have not really seen the Geminids any of these mornings recently. I saw a little bit Friday.
Well,
night.
not from inside. You have to go outside for that.
Nope. And you need the clouds to part.
Yeah. We got Mark Behrendt. Hey, Mark. It's been a long time.
Hey guys. Yeah, it has been.
And you're going to bring us the moon, we hope, but you've got some sort of mediocre weather, right?
Yeah, it's been snowing in Chicago the last couple.
The Chinese have soft landed on the moon, and it's the first soft landing that anyone's made since 1976. We've impacted things like L-Cross impacted a few years ago. The Grail missions impacted their last year after they completed their mission, but this is the first soft landing since 1976, and it was kind of cool. We got no one really knew how much coverage. I didn't even know till tomorrow morning if the Chinese were even going to broadcast it. So we just kind of tuned into CCTV, to their national English television channel, and started watching, and then it popped up and they started broadcasting it. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah, so it was cool. They had images almost immediately. Again, we were talking about before the show started. It was like when MSL landed a few years ago on Mars. We thought that we might be in a waiting pattern to find out if they'd actually made it and have to wait for a few hours, and that wasn't the case. And yesterday it wasn't the case either. Of course, they have a lot more, almost instantaneous communication between Earth and the Moon. It's only like about a 1.5 second delay for light travel time for the signals. So as opposed to Mars, it's about 3 minutes. So
yeah, I mean they can literally just drive that thing with a joystick. I mean,
yeah, almost real time.
Yeah, yeah. There's pretty much no delay.
Yeah, when
that's a complete difference from the way it is with the Mars.
With Mars, yeah, you have 7 minutes there and 7 minutes back at the time of MSL. So it's a whole 7 minutes of terror. You have no idea.
So here's what we're dealing with right here. The moon. And it's great to look at, except, when it's a full moon, it's all we get to look at.
It's just a little over 24 hours from full right now. And this is going to be the smallest full moon of 2013 tomorrow night, too. So.
We might actually have somebody else join us, Mr.
Good.
Foreman.
Oh.
Right on.
Yay!
Hey, Stuart. Evil Stuart.
Let us see your red light. And your microphone.
Dun.
We'll wait till he joins us because we're live. Cool. So Mark, what's your setup here?
So right now I've got just a Canon DSLR on the back of my Celestron C8, so it's an 8-inch SCT type telescope, and I'm running a long USB cable into the house because it's like 10 degrees out right now.
I was going to say it must have some kind of remote setup.
Yeah.
Look at how fast those clouds are moving past it.
That's what I have back here as a SCT-8 too, so it's the same kind of scope.
Yeah, I've got a homemade dew shield and a homemade dew heater on there, so it'll keep it from frosting up.
I use
like the second time I've used the dew heater, so we'll see.
I actually use.
Couple days in, we just got some cloud cover, but fortunately the moon's bright enough to blow through most of it.
Bad weather in Chicago? Heavens.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course the big problem is like you get this terrible, really bright moon, and that blows out all the rest of the telescope. So yeah, so it's a rough night. We got Roy Salisbury, who is gonna. He's the one being heavily obscured by the moon's awful glow.
Yes.
But he's got some hydrogen alpha stuff we'll be able to take a look at. So yay! We got Scott Lewis. Scott,
I should unmute myself. Yes. Hello. I'm sharing and promoting and tweeting.
keep that up.
Keeping it up, doing the hard work over here behind the
And
scenes.
Tom Nathe, is that
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Cool.
Howdy.
And I was just saying, like, Tom's got a cool little microscope there in the background. I think that would be, we could always.
Oh
depend on
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to dig through my pile of dirty dishes and see if I can come up with some sort of bio life form.
Yeah, just dig something out of the fridge and we'll get a look at that. So,
Yeah.
is it space or is it Tom's fridge? We don't know. Yeah. Cool. So let's.